The hell am I looking at?
Looks like a lot of texts of the battles.
But this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife.
What the hell are you guys doing here?
Oh, hi, Suraht. Where are we?
Apparently, you're in what passes for my office.
What the hell are we doing here?
I'm assuming talking Battletech.
Oh god, all this
Battletech, you say?
Battletech summoned you, didn't it?
Well, I do have to. I do occasionally partake of the Battletechs.
Occasionally.
Occasionally,
So,
once in a great while.
so yeah, the Battletech Kickstarter, and I need to drop the gain on my mic. The Battletech Kickstarter, it finally got its stuff to me. Finally. It took long enough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're going to go over all the stuff, and I have a hefty amount of stuff because I gave them frankly way too much money.
Really, that's something I'd expect me to do.
Yeah, well, they also do the Shadowrun stuff, and I'm a sucker for that, as you see on the edge here. And
Fair
also,
enough.
part of what they gave me has nothing to do with BattleTech at all, but it's part of if you were in their Kickstarter, they decided you needed new damage tokens, new
Oh, those
damage
are
and
always
currency
useful.
tokens for
Yep.
the card game in there. So, I mean, of course, Catalyst being the company that they are, I like to support them. And if it means I get a bunch of plastic things for the cats to knock around, it means I get a bunch of plastic things for the cats to knock around. And maybe at some point I'll take up painting, but who knows when.
I mean, I know that. I know that feeling.
So, and yes, all this stuff you see back here, it's hard to see with the angle, but we will get to it at some point in time over the course of this. But this is the miscellaneous swag that's branded after various things far in the back here, including this massive freaking timber wolf over here.
One of the most iconic mechs in the franchise.
Yeah, the
It,
100 millimeter variant.
mm-hmm. It's the big one.
I don't think you get to play with this on a normal map. So
You do not.
I would like to though, if you gave it to me at scale.
Oh my God! There's a dropship-sized Timberwolf. What the fuck is happening?
That thing registers 500 tons. Anyway,
Boosh, boosh. Godzilla theme intensifies.
but yeah, I figure since you guys do the battle techie stuff on your channel, I figure a good spot for talking about this would be your channel. And I guess we should start with the main point of the Kickstarter. That's this thing.
The Mercenaries Collector's
The
Box.
Mercenary Collector's Box with a faux ferrofibrous finish.
They said it was ferrofibrous, really?
Yes. Faux ferrofibrous finish.
Say that 5 times fast.
So like the original Kickstarter, depending on which set you got, there were some clan mechs, but most of it was intro tech stuff. A lot of this stuff is also going to be intro tech, but it does try to expand beyond that to some of the Star League upgraded things.
And at the time of recording this, it's not quite for sale.
It
At
is
least
not.
it is not. It will be for sale soon. So everything you see here, if you are interested in it, I am plugging them for who knows why. But yeah, you can buy this if you want to eventually. Books, various measures of card, battlefield support decks, all that good stuff that we don't really care about too much here, and a pair of die six because they gotta give you some die six.
Yes, the thing about the BattleTech tabletop game, it runs entirely on D6s.
Also, yeah, if you paid a little bit extra, you could get special die six. Special math rocks.
Special Matt. Tasty.
Yeah. My chair. Stop bumping things, please. There. So now, I do not know which of these mechs is which, but there are also some vehicles in here.
The vehicles, I don't remember which ones are in there, and I don't know them as well anyway.
But there are two... What they gave me... I'm going to pull this back because this is perfectly... You can see this pretty well on camera, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are... I see 14... 12. 12 things. 12 things in here? Yeah, 12 things in here. And 4 of them are vehicles.
I want to say it's like 2 pikes and 2 galleons, but I can't swear to that. And I frankly, unless you get some very specific tanks, I am not going to know them that well. That was another big thing that the Mercenaries Kickstarter was big on. It was adding vehicles to things, because Lord knows some people out there love their tanks. As I recall, 2 of your salvage boxes are actually tanks I specifically know.
One of them is.
One of them is a tank I specifically know, and it's really friggin' funny.
Yeah, it doesn't say what the vehicles are. It just says 12 high-quality, fully assembled battle mechs and vehicles on the back of the box.
Okay.
I'm sure if I opened up all of these little cards here, I could find what each one of these are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm not that interested. Because that would be a lot of cards to go through. We're prepared here, folks.
All right, time to play how well I know this shit. Okay. Okay, I know which one that is. It is not one of the ones I know better, but I know the history of it. And the reason I don't know it better is partly because of how it was introduced out of universe, and partly because it has some weird fucking variants. But that is the Flea, which was actually one of House Merrick's early battle mechs in universe. It was originally called the Trooper. It wound up being a fucking boondoggle, and they were working on it for like 25 years. And so, like, after 25 years of bad press, when they finally released it, they were like, let's call it something different. So, the Flea typically has, like, 2 medium lasers, 2 small lasers, and, like, a flamer, some machine guns. It's a relatively slow-moving 20-ton mech. It tops off at 97 kph, kind of like the Stinger Wasp does. It is covered in tissue paper for protection, but it packs a decent amount of punch, and there's actually a version of it that has, like, a large laser and 2 small lasers and a flamer. Out of universe, it was actually first introduced in the Wolf's Dragoon source book, along with several other mechs, which is why I don't know it as well. But it is one that eventually winds up being pretty common, not just with the Dragoons, but with the Free Worlds League, because they build the fucking thing over at their Earthworks plants, at all of their Earthworks plants, pretty much. So there's like 5 factories for that bad boy. It's a little cheap, crappy mech that, like, if you fling a rock at it, it will die.
Also, I pulled up a list.
Mm-hmm.
There are indeed 2 of the same each vehicle here. 2 of them are galleons and 2 of them are Maxims.
Okay. I think the Maxim's an APC and the Galleon's just like, yep, that's a tank, all right.
Yeah, this would probably be the galleon.
Yeah.
And the Maxim.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the Flea.
Yeah, so the Flea, you'd most likely find it in the Free Worlds League or the odd one in House Liao, but yep, it's a light mech. It's not particularly good, but it's cheap. You're probably better off using a Locust, but hey, flavor.
This next one I pulls out looks like they took a 1980s arcade spaceship and put legs on the bottom of it.
I think I know which one it is. Which again, it's yep. Okay, so this is another one that was out of universe introduced in the Wolf's Dragoons thing. That would be the Firefly, which is 35 tons, I want to say. But it's another light mech. It was originally co-made by Earthworks and Coventry Metalworks, although it was extinct for a long time until the Wolf's Dragoons brought it back with them. It tops out at like 86 kph, which again is kind of slow for a medium. It's not like Panther slow, but it's slow for a light. But it has like three medium lasers, an LRM-5. Sometimes it has an anti-missile. Basically, it's one of those mechs that when the Wolf's Dragoon showed up with it, everyone was like, "Wait, where the fuck did they get that? That what the fuck?"
eBay.
It fell off of a space
Yes,
truck.
it fell off the back of a space truck, just like all those Annihilators.
But eventually in the Ill Clan era, for some strange reason, Ceres Metalworks in the Capellan Confederation winds up building them. Even though they weren't the ones who built it initially, they're building it now. I don't know why Coventry isn't putting it back into production, but hey. So you'd find these in like House Steiner, what's left of the Wolf's Dragoons, the odd clan unit because they had a bunch with them. In fact, I think the Snow Ravens had a bunch in Brian Cash's. And now the Capellan Confederation.
I'm looking at the next one,
Uh-oh.
and I'm thinking, you know what? You could convince me that this was a Phoenix Hawk.
I
You
don't
could
remember.
convince me of this, even though the Phoenix Hawk is not part of this list.
Oh, there's a reason that can convince you that's a Phoenix Hawk.
Because it is.
Yes and no.
It is what they came up with for the Phoenix Hawk once the Invisibles had to be shuffled out.
Not exactly. So that mech is known as the Chameleon, which I think is a 50 tonner. But it's a medium. And like out of universe, it was created to show off like mech creation rules. It has a very similar layout to the Phoenix Hawk in general. Like large laser, two medium lasers. I can't remember if it has the machine guns or not. It also showed up in like the BattleTech game Crescent Hawk's Inception. It's your starting mech. It almost immediately gets blown up unless you do what the game doesn't expect you to do. But when they were making the artwork of this, they basically took the Phoenix Hawk, chopped the head off, and put like a bubble in, and they managed to get away with it. The companies that wind up making it later are Defiance Industries in House Steiner and JB Battlemechs, also in House Steiner, but they were selling a bunch of their shit to the Word of Blake. Again, it was designed as a trainer, so it didn't use much in the way of advanced technology, and it was definitely under heat sinked, so just so people would learn, hey, mech run hot if you fire all the things. There are also versions of it that were Q mechs, where it's like, oh, it's a training mech. No, we added more weapons to it too, so you can assassinate things. Mwahaha. It is common enough that you'd potentially find it anywhere, but the place it's currently being built, House Steiner, or what's left of House Steiner, which is a whole other discussion that we don't know all the details of yet.
But that isn't a 100-ton mech.
It is not, no. They don't only build assault mechs.
But scout squads.
They have things like the Commando and the Wolfhound and the Hatchet Man and the Night Sky and the Griffin.
They also have Atlas scout squads.
It's more accurate to say they have Zeus scout squads, but hey.
Look, I'm not going against the meme.
I love the meme.
Okay, and next up out of the box here, I don't think I'm going quite from lightest to heaviest in here. I'm trying, but I don't think I'm making it.
You're getting pretty close. That's a 65 tonner, and you actually know this one.
This one, I believe, is what you lovingly refer to as the double standard.
Yes, that is the quick draw. So, the history of that mech specifically, it was created towards the tail end of the Star League. Um, so there were a couple of mechs, the Rifleman and the Jaeger mech, that were specifically built for like anti-air things. The problem is like mechs would get destroyed, and so like people would move the Rifleman to the front lines, which is a terrible place to put the Rifleman. So, Technicron of Savannah specifically in the Free Worlds League, we're like, oh, we'll build something that you can move to the front line so you don't have to move your riflemen to the front lines. And the thing they came up with was the Quick Draw, which is not a great mech. It moves pretty quick for a heavy, tops off at 86 kph. It also jumps. It is kind of thin skinned. It would have okay punch if all of its weaponry fired forward. It has two medium lasers in its arms, and its arms are weirdly built so they could flip backwards. It has two medium lasers to the rear, and then it has an SRM-4 front line and LRM-10 front line. Again, it doesn't have great armor, but it moves pretty quickly. It's kind of one of those mechs that's not great. It's not the worst mech out there, but it's by no means good. It's primarily found in the Free Worlds League, although for some reason the Capella Confederation ended up with a couple of them. And also, for some reason, Luthien Armor Works in House Karita wind up making them. House Karita notoriously hates medium mechs, but they love their fast heavy, so the quick draw fits right in with them. But the two main houses that would use it would be Karita and Merrick.
So
If I have a Canon Merrick mech, that's one of my choices for it. Not because it's good, quite the opposite.
see, the next one I pulled out of the pack reminds me of an old Star Wars tabletop RPG game where I played basically just a dumb brute of a fighter pilot who got a set of stormtrooper armor and then mounted basically a 50 caliber machine gun to the shoulder. And that's the story of why this reminds me of that.
Star Slayer, medium mech. I don't remember the precise layout of this, but it was originally created by it was either North Storm or Blue Shot Weapons. It's going to annoy me when I remember later. But it, like, the Crab was on the way to becoming the Star League standard medium mech. This was like a competition to the Crab. And actually, McCarran's Armored Cavalry found like a cache of them. So they had a couple of them, and they were a mercenary unit that eventually became a House Liao house unit, who apparently are becoming mercenary again, but we haven't gotten there yet in universe to where the specifics of that happen. But the company that primarily makes it, which I'm like 75% sure it's North Storm, but I'm gonna have to fact check myself later, is in House Steiner, so you'd primarily find it there. Although I do specifically remember examples of it showing in some of the periphery states of all places. But then again, House Steiner likes to make money. It is 45 or 50 tons, I want to say, but it is a medium mech. It has a couple of large lasers of some kind, an SRM-4. Some configurations of it jump. It's not terrible. It's not the crab, but it's not a bad mech at all. There are some versions that are like really solid mediums.
I have no idea what to make of this next one.
Does it look like the Slave one?
I don't think so. I mean, I could, if you stretch, maybe.
Okay, I know what it is. That would be the Caesar. So that's you'd find that one in Davian and Steiner primarily, although they did sell a couple to St. Ives when they were independent from House Liao. You're gonna know the history of this one. But because it connects to a battle mech you enjoyed tormenting me with.
There were a couple of those.
Remember the Cataphract?
Yeah. All 7 of them.
God damn it! There were only canonically 5 of the ECM Cataphract. Damn it!
But I had 7.
You broke the universe.
And your point being what?
See what I have to put up with, Star.
But you have to put up with me.
Boop.
Hey.
So,
Moose in the desert.
Moose in the desert.
there are no goddamn moose in the desert. So, during the Fourth Succession War, House Davian conquers the living shit out of House Liao, including the planet Tikhonov, which had the primary cataphract factory. Well, as House Steiner and House Davian were aligning with each other, they decided to build a couple of battle mechs together, one of which was the Axeman. To distract people from them making the Axeman, they made the Caesar, which is basically an upgraded up-tech cataphract, which is funny because they were also making the fucking cataphract because they owned the planet Tikhonov for a good long time. The Caesar, the original version of the Caesar had XL engine, that's important, ERPPC, Gauss rifle, 2 front-pointing medium pulse lasers, 2 rear-pointing medium pulse lasers. The reason the XL engine is important is it's notoriously thin side torso armor, and it doesn't have case for that Gauss rifle. So it unfortunately has the tendency to, what's the word I'm looking for? Blow the fuck up.
Become an impromptu fireworks display?
Exactly. The Caesar is not terrible, and, after the FedCom Civil War, specific Steiner units became fond of it in the name of Caesar Steiner, a Steiner cousin. When the FedCom split up, the different parts of the former FedCom had to make like different versions of the Caesar because they no longer had all the components. Like the Steiner half, there was definitely a heavy Gauss version, which is ridiculous. I think House Davian may have had a rotary AC version. But like it was made at Defiance Industries of Hesperus 2 in House Steiner, and then Johnston Industries of New Syrtis in House Davian.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 mechs in this box. So by process of elimination, I think I know what both of them are.
Okay, I just remembered what the 2 of them are. I'm like, oh shit, there's 2 left.
Yep.
Okay, so that is actually one of the unseen, one of the lesser known ones. So that is the Ostsoul, or Ostsoul. It was originally created by Ostman Industries of Terra before that factory got blown up. After that, Kong Interstellar of the planet Connaught in House Merrick was making them. And eventually, Robinson Battleworks on Planet Robinson and House Davian was making them. So Davian and House Merrick would be the 2 most common places making it. The bog standard version has nothing in the arms, so the arms are basically ablative armor. And then it has 2 large lasers, 2 front-pointing medium lasers, 2 rear-pointing medium lasers. And yes, Clan Sea Fox is now making an upgraded Clan Tech version of it. Still uses like inner sphere chassis and whatnot, but Clan Tech weapons and what have you. And of course, Clan Sea Fox will sell it to anyone willing to give them money. And so that leaves the battle mech that you probably would have wished was in the LP. Because you'd like this mech.
It's a biggin.
It is. It is a biggin. The Devastator. Much like the Atlas,
Transformer.
much like the Atlas, much like the King Crab, much like some other one which is escaping me at the moment, which will come to me later. An assault mech commissioned by General Alexander Kerensky.
Like the Banshee?
The Banshee was not commissioned by him.
Yeah.
But the Atlas was. It is armed with 2 Gauss rifles, 2 ERPPCs, bunch of medium lasers. It is a brick shithouse of armor. It is one of the few inner sphere assault mechs that can reliably go toe-to-toe with clan assault mechs. This thing is a fucking beast. Like, I feel like you'd take it and be like, ah, yes, unlimited power. It was produced at North Storm Weapons over in House Steiner, although I think that factory got blown up. But it also was produced at Korean Industries in House Davian and became one of their signature assault mechs. When like the low-tech version of it was being gradually reintroduced by House Davian, McCarran's Armored Cavalry actually stole a couple, and that wound up being like Marcus Barton's signature mech. Don't fuck with the Big Mac. But yeah, it's definitely a FedCom flavored mech if you're not playing in the early Star League. Although clans may have a couple in their like garrison forces or what have you. Overall, this box is fairly FedCom flavored. But yes, the Devastator.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of at least one Transformer.
Oh, it was the one that like all the Constructicons, I think.
Yeah.
Which I had like
if you have the reissue of the G1 Constructicons, do not try to turn that into Devastator. It will not be a happy time for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking from experience there. So now, after that, we have 3 packs. So let's go with the first one I grabbed here. Unless you have a preference for which one.
I do not.
Okay. So I just grabbed the first one my hand came into contact with in the box.
Star has to put up with this all the time.
I mean, right now it's the Gundams, so.
I may be building Gundams.
So, just to make this...
Oh god, I hope I remember all the ones that were in this.
Unfortunately,
I do.
it does not list. It does not have the printed. Does not have the printed names of these.
I think the plastic that they come packed in should have short versions of them.
That's what I'm talking about. It's not there.
This is going to be interesting. Let's see here.
See if you look.
Eh.
None of them there.
Okay. Well, this may get interesting because it's been a minute since I've looked at this pack. It's been a minute since I've looked at any of these packs.
It says on the back of the box what 4 are in there.
Okay.
But it doesn't say which one's which.
Alright, let's see how good I do with this.
They're all... Well, let's see. One is actually bigger than the rest. We'll save you for last. And we'll start with you.
Come on, box with legs.
You are not a crab. You're trying to be, but you are not one.
Okay. So this was another one that was reintroduced out of universe in the Wolf's Dragoons box. Um God, you're gonna fucking hate this mech. I remember sharing the Bad Mech of the Month article of this. That is the Hoplite.
Huh.
Depending on which version you get, it was originally created by Martinson Armaments on Terra. After shit went wrong with the Star League, it was out of production and pretty much extinct in the inner sphere for a long time. Eventually, Ark Royal Mechworks puts it back into construction for the Kellhounds, Wolf's Dragoons, various mercenary units, House Steiner. But the mech was known for being easily repaired, well armored. It runs very cool. I feel like you have a question.
I'm going to say I hear the butt just hanging there.
Like the bog standard one was like an LBX. It's a 55-ton mech, so this is 5 tons heavier than the Centurion. I want you to think about this. It has an LBX AC-10 and an LRM-5.
So, in other words, it's about as heavily armed as a Jenner.
It is less heavily armed than the Jenner.
Eh. And all that for, what, 30 extra tons?
20 extra tons.
25, 30 extra tons in the Jenner?
Yeah. And it's not a fast medium either. It's slow, it's chunky. I know eventually like the clans make like better versions of it, but it's still mm, mm-mm. What will betide you if you have been assigned this mech? You- at least you will be comfortable.
Eh. Okay, Wolverine, you are not. You are not the character, nor are you the mech. I think I know what you are based on the cards, but let's stick you in front of the camera here.
Oh, I remember you.
The
Yes,
claws,
okay.
yeah, the claws is like you're not Wolverine.
I forgot you were in this pack. So, this is another Star League era mech, produced by Hildco, the creators of the Victor. That is the Pillager. It is 100-ton mech that jumps. It is armed with like 2 Gauss rifles, I think 4 medium lasers, and a large laser. If this sounds similar to the Devastator, you'd be right. The difference is it's a little bit less armed and jumps. But the main company that makes this is Hildco, which means it's. Although I think Hellspot eventually makes one. You're likely to find this in House Liao, although St. Ives definitely sold some to House Davian. They make a stealth one eventually. That one's nasty.
I was gonna
But yeah, this
say,
is this is yet another Star League era Gauss boat. And this one fucking jumps. I genuinely forgot that one was in this pack.
and apparently this has case.
Yes. It is not a complete death trap.
I'm just reading the card here. That's all I'm
Yep.
reading.
This is one of those Star League mechs that makes the mechs from the 2750 technical readout look like shit.
Okay, so
That narrows it down to 2, which means I'm going to be able to identify these 2 really easily. Okay, so I believe that is an 85-ton mech. That is the Shogun, which I don't know its configurations as well. Another one originally created by Mitchell Vehicles, although it was only in the prototype stages at the tail end of the Star League. Um, it went off with Alexander Kerensky and was out of production after that. Basically, when that was commissioned, the the Star League was like, we want something like the Stalker, but we want it to jump. So it's armed with two LRM-15s, a couple of SRM launchers, and an ERPPC, depending on the version of it. It's another one that was extinct in the inner sphere that the Wolf's Dragoons brought with them. That everyone was like, wait, what the fuck is that? No, no, seriously, what is that? We don't know what that is. Um, but yeah, if you like the Stalker but want something jumpier, this plays similarly. And actually, at one point in universe, the amount of this mech that existed was down to single digits. During the Word of Blake temper tantrum, after Outreach got nuked and the Wolf Dragoons got the shit kicked out of them, there were like two that were owned by people who had salvaged them from the Wolf's Dragoons, and that was it. By the Ill Clan era, I believe Clan Sea Fox has put them back into production and is clan teching them because why the hell not? We can make a buck that way.